chats with a professional. Oh, 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 oh. A chats with a professional. With Ezeogu. A chats with a professional. Oh, 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 oh. A chats with a professional.
Do you think that Baba Obasanjo could be on the street while these Boko Haram people are doing what they are doing?
The objective of the private organization is slightly different from...
Nigeria is the most important country
of education. The collapse of culture in Nigeria. Even with cheating, we can't pass. We've not done enough. There's still more. Join us.
And you'll never regret that you did.
Hello and welcome. You're on to a Chat to the Professional, the show designed to x-ray the activities of professional individuals and corporate bodies. My name is Martin Subu and I'm sure glad to be with you. Once again today on the show, we are reaching you from the United States of America, Kansas City to be precise, in the state of Missouri, and we are going to be featuring a Nigerian, someone that the young ones out there should look up to because he had paid his dues back home in Nigeria before migrating to the United States of America. He was in the military. He served his country meritoriously. He actually went to ECOMOG, came back. He had his bachelor's degree, his master's degree in Nigeria before migrating to the United States. Today he is a pensioner of the Nigerian Army. But at the same time, making a great mark, doing us proud in the United States of America, practicing law. As a matter of fact, he owns his own law practice known as Eze Law Firm. I'm going to be introducing this gentleman properly by the time we return from this break, but essentially we shall be discussing practice in America, his experience in the military back home in Nigeria, and of course what he is doing today in the US. Stay back, relax, and enjoy the show. We'll be back. You're still watching this show, Chat to the Professional, and like I mentioned to you in my introduction, today I have another co-professional practicing abroad, the United States of America, and this time in the state of Missouri. He's been here now for over a decade. He served with the Nigerian military at the time, obtained his master's degree in political science before migrating to the United States of America. But today he practices as an attorney. Join me now as I welcome to the show Anthony Ezeogu. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mr. Martins.
I just would want you to share your experience as a young man, a flashback to those days in the military in Nigeria. And did you at any point, or did it ever occur to you at any point that you would leave the military to become a lawyer?
Well, thank you, Mr. Obu. The point is, to answer the question, the answer is no. When I joined the Army in 1987, my goal was to rise in the Army, serve my country, and retire. So.
And perhaps become a general.
Not a general, but just do the best I can.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Alright, now would you want to share your experience coming to the United States? Of course, before you came here, you already had your bachelor's in I think sociology,
right.
And then you went ahead to bag a master's degree in political science.
That is correct.
So how come, how was it migrating from all those to becoming a lawyer?
Well, the education I had in Nigeria prepared me very well for the experiences and my sojourn to the United States. Like you know, I had my bachelor's degree from the University of Lagos. One thing I felt I wanted to accomplish was to be very independent, own my own business, and get married and take care of my family. I decided to go to law school in the United States, and here am I after 12 years. I have my own law firm, and I'm a solo practitioner, as to speak.
Okay. Now, what is law practice like? I mean, given you were not a lawyer in Nigeria, but at least you were in the military. I want to believe perhaps you would have gone to one or two of our courts, either to witness proceedings or whatever. Would you, looking at the legal system here, the way it works and the way it works, of course we are not asking about infrastructure here, because you don't want to compare the two, but what do you think we can borrow from here, or what we can borrow from Nigeria, comparing the two systems?
Well, the Nigerian legal system, or the judicial system, is designed to follow the pattern of the British judicial system, like you know. But that's quite different from the system in place in the United States. The major difference is, of course, let's start from the aesthetic value. Our lawyers in Nigeria wear these wig and gowns. You see a lawyer in Nigeria, you easily identify a lawyer. It's not so here. So that's number one. Number two, the system of education here have it that you must have a 4-year college degree here to get into law school.
Okay.
And what we call law school here is like a full-time program of law. But in Nigeria, what we call law school is, you know, the 1 year, those who have graduated from the university studying law go to law school in Nigeria
to be called to bar.
To be called to the bar.
Okay.
But that's different here. Here you must have your 4-year degree in any discipline, then take a test called the law school admission test to be admitted into any law school.
I see.
So that's the basic.
And then you run how many years?
3 years basically, you know, and of course you do your internships with anywhere you want to walk, you know. So, but the law school curriculum is intended to cover 3 years here in the United States.
Now you handle immigration issues, I'm aware, and you know, one would want to understand the difficulties immigrants face, especially those coming from our part of the world into the United States. Of course, you and I know that a lot of them come into the country with non-immigrant visa. Some decide to stay back. Some others come on the invitation of some people who have had their citizenship or who have green cards and what have you. What are the challenges that people are facing here, and what would be your advice to those back home?
All right, I do practice immigration law, and one major thing I've observed concerning our people, when I say our people, folks coming from Nigeria, coming from other parts of Africa. There are different categories of visas. Just like you're a professional, you came here with a work visa. Most people come here for leisure, vacation, to visit families and friends. Other people come for religious purposes. Some come for tourism. Different kinds of visas exist for different kinds of people. So, but one thing here is, once most people come here, let me not say most people, when some folks come here, they want to stay behind, you know. They want to continue to stay here and seek to adjust their status. And the reason is obvious, you know. People leave Africa, they come here, they see the difference, they see the lifestyle, they want to be part of the system here. And they begin to ask questions, what should I do to regularize my state and to adjust my status? Most people that have come to my firm come as students with student visas. Some have come with non-immigrant visiting visas. And one thing I always hear them say is, what should I do to, you know, adjust my status? So it's a very difficult question. Difficult question in the sense that there are certain things within the parameters of the U.S. legal system, immigration laws, that you must not do. If you do those things, you're deemed to be circumventing immigration laws for the purpose of acquiring status.
Okay.
And principal among those is arranged marriages with people that you don't intend to marry for real.
Yeah.
That's the most issue
common.
I've seen. It's the most common, because it's very difficult to come in here and adjust your status, especially if you come in here with a non-immigrant visa. So people tend to get into marriages. Most marriages, or some marriages, are for real, some are entered into for the purpose of evading immigration law. But that's by the way. Most people that come to me married. You know, that's one of my advices. Once you walk into my door, the first question I'll ask you: are you married or not? And if you're not married, I cannot help you. You know, there's no way I can help you. So let's assume, for the purpose of this discussion, a gentleman walks in and says, "Okay, I have a wife, or we just got married." Then the process begins, and the process takes the form of filing a couple of petitions.
Yes.
Like the alien related petition, the I-130, the adjustment of status petition, the I-485, for some that wants to work, the I-765 for employment purposes. And of course, there's this affidavit that you must swear, the I-864, which is called the affidavit of support. That is meant to, you know, for you to make a commitment not to sponsor someone who will become a public charge.
Okay.
Once a public charge, who will become a burden to the state here. So those are the types of petitions you form in the initial instance to get the process going.
Now, but looking at all these challenges, is it really worth it, or is it advisable for people to leave Nigeria, come here, arrange what they call arranging marriage in Nigeria, just for the purpose of adjusting their immigration status, like you said? Is it really worth it, and is it advisable?
Well, it's a very, very individualistic preference for people to decide to do what they want to do. If you're well off in Nigeria, if you're doing okay in Nigeria, I don't see you coming here to subject yourself to the whims of some lady who will put you through hell to get your status. Some Nigerians don't tolerate that. They come in here to visit, they leave. But some Nigerians that I see that are willing to undergo those kind of nonsense from people,
torture,
torture pretty much, those that probably who are not doing well back home. If they go back home, it'd be like going from frying pan to fire. So they do whatever they can do. You know, Nigerians are resilient. They undergo all kinds of endurance, perseverance to make sure they adjust their status. It's a lot more difficult to do that, you know. But I don't want to put, you know, you have to be in someone's shoes to understand what someone's going through, especially to answer the question whether it's worth it to stay here, to go through those kind of rigorous process to adjust status. But people know they have their reasons. I'm not in a position to advise people to stay back home or don't get out here. No. So the issue, the one thing I keep on observing is most Nigerians that come here love home. You know, they want to go back home, to contribute back home. Even though they want to stay here and work here, most Nigerian immigrants here, I will categorize them as economic migrants, people who just come here to make a living, to make money, support their families back home, and live well, you know, and begin to plan to go home at the end of the day. But it's pretty much difficult to do.
Well, I think you need to hold your breath there, because we are going to take a break. We must take a break now. Don't go away. We'll be back. watching A Chat to the Professional, and my guest today, an attorney practicing in Kansas City, state of Missouri, United States of America. A thoroughbred Nigerian who served his country as a military man and then eventually migrated, perhaps in search of greener pastures. But today he practices as a lawyer, like I mentioned. And before we went on break, Tony, you tried to talk about the challenges Nigerians face when they migrate here without the proper documentation and decide to regularize their stays here. The truth of the matter is that you just hit the nail on the head. A lot of Nigerians want to remain home, but for economic reasons. Given your experience, what would you be saying to those in positions of authority in Nigeria to ensure that people don't leave the country to be subjected to such humiliations just because they want to become citizens of countries they ordinarily wouldn't want to be?
Well, to answer the question, the one thing I will say is most Nigerians that live here in the United States cheer, they rejoice once we learn that there's a good policy that is being put in place in Nigeria. When 2 or 3 Nigerians are gathered in the United States, what do we discuss? We discuss home. How can we make home better? Yeah. And for the most part, we've been largely disappointed with what is going on back home, just like everybody else, just like people at home. So we're not different than people at home. The issue is empowering the people. How do you empower the people? You empower the people by structural changes. Most Nigerians talk of structural changes. They want the government to make changes, but you cannot make changes where the structures perpetuate corruption, where the structures perpetuate nepotism, where the structures perpetuate all kinds of illegalities in government. The government needs to start by thinking about the structures in place. Let me give you an example, like in the United States here. Obama is the president of the United States. Obama as an individual cannot do much as a person. The structures are in place to guide and streamline and check his activities. If we can have such things in place in the Nigerian system, things will begin to turn around. Fighting corruption is not about locking 1 or 2 people up. It's about changing the structures of government. Yeah. What are these structures? Let's take the immunity clause, for example. The president, the governors had no business having immunities while in power. No government official should be immune from anything. Let us start from there. How about decentralization of power? Power is so much concentrated in Abuja that if I want to dig a borehole in my country, in my village, in Umosochiobo, I'll have to go to the local government chairman who probably will seek permission from somebody in Abuja just to dig a borehole. Now, talk about security of lives and property. That is one major thing that concerns Nigerians that live in the United States. Most of us want to go home and invest. We want to bring the dollars home. Yeah. But we hear stories of insecurity of lives and property. And nobody wants to, you have to be alive to invest.
Absolutely.
Okay? You have to be alive to invest. So when someone can easily be killed and nobody asks questions, it's a cause for concern. It's a cause for concern. You know, security costs money. Nigerians should learn, the government should learn how to invest heavily in security of lives and property.
Well, there's always been this argument that the money is never enough. But looking at what happens, for instance, in the United States, everybody pays tax. even minors, so long as you can walk into a store to buy something, everyone pays tax here.
The only thing that's not taxed there is probably the air that
and, are you even sure the air is not taxed?
I mean, well, there's a projection that sometime in the future it might be taxed. You know, but so go ahead with your question.
So I'm wondering, what do you think we can do to ensure we have a functional tax system that wouldn't appear to be a burden? Because I think the problem we have with tax system in Nigeria is that we wait until perhaps the end of the month or the end of the year and a lump sum is dropped as tax. What do you think we can do to improve our taxation such that we can use that the citizens can actually pay for the provision of some of these services, including the security you talked about?
Now, when you talk of taxes, you want to pay taxes where you see that the money is being used to do things, to develop the society, to improve electricity, to do things that the government ought to do. People are happy to pay taxes. The taxes is a function of reward, responsibilities and reward. In the United States here, everybody pays taxes. But then you begin to see that those taxes are being used judiciously to do things. And then at the end of the year, there's what is called the filing of tax returns here. People are, I won't call it reward, but people look towards filing their tax returns. And once they do that, they get some money back from the government. And those money that they get back is being brought back into the system. When people have money in their pocket, they spend. And once they spend, the economy is vibrant. Okay? So that's the function of the tax system here. But in Nigeria, probably only the civil servant pay taxes. Okay? And that should change. There's this value-added tax. I don't know who accounts for that. I don't know if you know. Taxes on properties. I don't know if people pay property taxes. I don't know if people pay, when I say property tax, including homes, cars, and things of that nature. You know, and by the time you institute this tax system, there should be an accountability at the end of the tunnel. You don't just tax and the tax money ends up in Dubai or you know what I mean.
Yeah, you just struck the nail at the head. The issue of property tax is something that I know we haven't done well at all. We just talk about income taxes. People own private jets, people own luxury cars, people own luxury homes. They are not taxed.
We don't know if you pay taxes or not. We don't know.
They are not taxed. I stand corrected, but you also talked about that. Yes, ideally they are supposed to be returned to IRS, the FIRS in Nigeria, the Federal Inland Revenue Service. But like you said, I do not think we are doing enough. And essentially what you're saying is that the government needs to show the citizens that when they pay tax, such monies are utilized in the interest of the people. Now, finally, because time is no longer on our side, I would like to get your advice for Nigerians who are already resident in the United States of America on how best to comport themselves to avoid those troubles that tend to tarnish the image of the country.
Well, Nigerians have excelled in all areas of endeavors, anywhere they reside, anywhere Nigerians live. But we continue to hear stories of bad conduct by few Nigerians. The only way to stop that is to keep on talking, you know, the way we're talking. And people have been talking, just like we discussed outside the cameras. When people see things that are going wrong, people need to speak up. People need to speak up. People do not need to protect people that they know who are doing wrong. You know, people need to speak up.
Because it benefits them.
Right. You know, so in the United States here, largely most Nigerians are doing very well. Most are struggling, just like all of us are struggling. For the most part, they've been behaving themselves very well. But, you know, like in every society, you still see those few bad eggs, you know. But, of course, the law is here to take care of those people. And that's the beauty of the United States. The laws are functional. There are many jails all over the place. I wish that's one thing the new government can put in place. Build more jails. You know, build more jails. And, you know, that's the way. When you get when you go against the law, we have a place for you.
You pay for it.
So you know, it's that's the way it is.
Okay,
yeah, that's the way it is.
All right. Sorry, time is no longer on our side, but I appreciate your time. I appreciate your thoughts that you have shared with us on this show today. You remain an inspiration to the younger generation of Nigerians, and I hope and do wish that the young ones out there who are watching you are able to draw some inspiration from you and strive towards excellence. It's important to note that Anthony Ezeogu here is a pensioner of the Nigerian Army. In other words, he served his country well before migrating. And we are saying that the young ones out there, you should look up to these practicing professionals who have made their marks in whatever they do, and see how you too can contribute to making Nigeria, and indeed the African continent, a greater place for all of us to live in. So my pleasure once again, Tony.
Thank you, sir.
Professional handshake.
Thank you very much.
We hope that the next time we'll be talking with you, we'll have had some good memories to share about your practice in the United States in particular, and of course
the value back home.
That's it.
Right.
My pleasure once again.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Okay. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to wrap up this show. Alright guys, I'm afraid that's the much time would permit on the show today. Chat with the professional. Anthony Ezeogu has said it all. Be passionate about what you do, and someday you too could be like him, having paid his dues back home before migrating to the US, and still doing us proud as a legal practitioner, an attorney who runs his own law firm. We can only but say we wish many more Nigerians successes in whatever they do, many more Africans all over the world, and say that together we can do it and bring about good governance on the continent of Africa, and indeed make our land a better place for us all to live in, and avoid this issue of brain drain and, if you like, mass exodus of the youth who indeed should be the leaders of our dear continent. Till next time when I come your way, remember Martin Sobu saying stay blessed, and I'll see you again.
A chance with a professional. Oh, 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 oh. A chance with a professional. With Martin Sobu. A chance with a professional. Oh, 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 oh. A chance with a professional. With Martin Sobu. A chance with a professional will make you know more about the society. Oh yeah. A chat with a professional will make you know what you don't know. Oh yeah. Just relax and watch, and you'll never regret that you did. With a professional. Oh, 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 oh. A chance with a professional.